Downtown Fargo, where culture, creativity, and community collide. You've heard the headlines. Now hear what's really happening. Bringing the best of Broadway direct to you. The stories, the people, and the places that make downtown the heartbeat of our city. This is Rocky's Downtown Hour with Rocky Schneider.
Happy Friday, everybody. This is Rocky Schneider. We're talking about Downtown Fargo on Rocky's Downtown Hour. We got a great weekend ahead of us with little snowflakes today, but the summer's looking ahead. We're planning all sorts of fun things happening downtown. We have 45 or 48 something events planned at Broadway Square, and things are ramping up already. We have a couple guests on the show today to talk about Record Store Day that's happening tomorrow at Orange Records, and then on Sunday there's a comic book show hosted by Paradox at Brewhalla. Both amazing events. Record Store Day is always one of those events that has people out the door. I think there's some 200 plus records coming out tomorrow, special for that day, that Orange Records has in stock. And then Paradox, this will be their first comic book show at Brewhalla, and it looks to be, they've been hosting a ton of events and they've been going really well. And so this is a new venture that we'll hear all about and what that means and what that brings. I know comic books are one of those things that can bridge the gap between generations. If you see superheroes that you grew up with that now your kids want to dress up as for Halloween, and it's a way to kind of stay young and stay relevant with your kids as well, which is always helpful. And just fun to talk to Rich about everything Paradox has going on. But we're also looking ahead to our food culture downtown, our cuisine. We have an event with 30 restaurants signed up. It's called the One Bite Challenge. And just to talk about, I don't think there's ever been an event where there's 30 restaurants all signed up for one day, for one event. We have a couple other events. We have a burger battle that happens in June that has, I think, about 20 restaurants or so. But we had such excitement behind this, sort of a culinary challenge. And we are selling tickets. We have 500 tickets for sale, so there's only 500 available. And I think we're at like 330 sold. So if you're interested, it's on May 23rd. You can buy tickets at downtownfargo.com. But really simple concept. You get one bite of food at each restaurant. And it's one day. It's on a Saturday. You go to 30 different restaurants, try their one bite of food, and you vote on it, and you get to pick, the most unique, the best tasting, the best overall. We'll have a couple celebrity judges that will judge on it as well, and then we'll have an overall People's Choice Award, be a bunch of prizes. But it's really just a fun activity. You get an appetizer plate from Hayden at Living the Dream Pottery that you get to take home with you. We're giving out over $2,000 in gift cards that I think just for signing up, just for getting a ticket, you'll get a chance to win. So we're getting out a lot of gift cards back to Downtown Fargo because we want you to explore, walk around, enjoy downtown, try some of the new restaurants. We know it's a commitment to go to a new restaurant if you have your favorites. But this is a good way to try out. Maybe you'll discover your favorite bite of food is at a place you've never heard of or you've never been. And then you'll go back. And hope these gift cards can help bring new people down. But it's a fun event. Restaurants are pumped for it. And I really hope that people understand that it's unique what we have in downtown Fargo for restaurants. You go to a lot of downtowns and you see the Ruth's Chris and, nice restaurants, but they're chains. We don't have any chain restaurants. We don't have any drive-thrus. It's all just local business owners that just love the culinary scene. A lot of service workers, waiting on you, cooking, cleaning, all these things just to provide you that bite of food that, we all love, we all need. But it's fun to go out and have a good time. So this is a way to get out to 30 different restaurants, and it's $45, so reasonable. I don't know how much you usually eat, but 30 bites seems like a lot to me. And you get to walk around. You never have to go more than half a block to the next restaurant and try them all. And I challenged somebody to try to name all 30 restaurants. I tried to do that the other day as I was going through, and they're like, there's really 30 restaurants there? And I'm like, yep, there's 30 of them. And so it'd be a fun event. We're going to hopefully get some pictures and tease some menu items over the next couple of weeks. It is just over a month away now, so we're gearing up for it. But you'll see more kind of leak on that slowly, but the tickets are going quick, so grab them while you can. And we'll stay on top of that for the next month. Also coming up on Tuesday, you may have heard, we have an election coming up in June. It's the biggest election in my lifetime, I think, in the city of Fargo. We have 2 commission seats that will be turned over completely. So we'll have brand new 2 commissioners and then a pretty open mayor's race. I'd say it's probably the most open I've seen. Mayor Tim Mahoney is a longtime mayor, and thank him for his service. He's term limited, so we're going to get a new face as mayor. We have 3 current commissioners running and then 1 current legislator. So you may know the faces, but we'll have a new mayor. And so possibly 3 new faces on the commission. Out of 5, that's a lot of turnover. So we'll see a different direction in Fargo, I'm sure, and different visions, and we'll have to see where that takes us come June. But on Tuesday, we're hosting a free event. It's a free mayoral debate. So all 5 of the candidates will be there. We're co-hosting at the Downtown Community Partnership along with the Chamber and the Building Industry Association. It's at the Fargo Theatre, which has brand new renovations, new seats, good free opportunity to come down and check out those renovations. 100-year-old theater. Fun to have our next leader on the stage for what, set the course for the next 100 years and what that looks like for us. And just a great event, but you do have to register. You can register on the Chamber's website. I think we're at, I want to say like 300 or 400 seats already occupied or tickets taken. I think it's an 800 seat theater. Someone will correct me if I'm wrong, but somewhere around that. So we're about halfway full for that event. And so if you're interested, come and you can eat popcorn. It's literally eat popcorn and watch the debate. It sounds like a great time to meet. I'll be there. You can come see me. But that's free again. So free at the Fargo Theatre on Tuesday. And I just want to say a quick thank you to WDAY because I think I've officially been on air now for over a year. So it's been a fun year. It's gone fast. But I did a little report for myself to kind of look back. And I think over last year I had 102 different guests on the program. Got to highlight an awful lot of events, an awful lot of small businesses downtown, talk about different issues at the city level, with the Fargo Police, with, all sorts of street fair updates and Red River Market and all the favorite events that go on all year long. So it's just been a really fun time to get to talk to everybody about what's going on in downtown Fargo. It's still the number 1 place that people visit when they come to town. I think it's 35% of all visitors to Fargo Moorhead come downtown. And so it's definitely that front door for students, for prospective employees coming to maybe move their families here, investors, people coming for conferences or for meetings. They come and they check out downtown because it's what's different about our community than every other community. We have a lot of nice areas in town, a lot of nice restaurants around town, but a lot of them are similar to what they have everywhere else in every other mid-sized city like Fargo. Downtown's unique. We have unique restaurants, and people keep writing back about the uniqueness here and that they love it. And so we hope to keep putting that image out there for us because how goes your downtown goes the rest of the region. And we've seen that again and again. Hate to pick on Minneapolis because I love Minneapolis, but they've had challenges over the last 5 years. And we've seen what that's done, not just to Minneapolis proper, but all the suburbs, all the restaurants, all the culture that goes on there and stuff that we all travel for. We want to make sure our downtown's strong, and so we continue to push for new initiatives and new efforts. We're gonna have a new police chief this summer. The city's about to come out with their plan, and I have some involvement in that process. The assistant chief right now is the interim. Assistant Chief Stefanowitz. He's a great guy. Met with him the other day, and I think going into summer, I'm pretty confident in his leadership. And as we look to the new chief, if it's him or somebody else, I think we'll be in a really strong spot to make a difference in downtown. The engagement center, which has been a key topic of debate, I guess if you want to call it that, in downtown, that should be moved by May 1st. And it's more about not just about moving; it's about providing an adequate building for those services. It's really a not a great situation when you have an inefficient building to provide these services because it's not fair to those that needing services, not fair to the workers providing them, and it's not fair to the businesses around it that are then kind of suffer from the spillover. And so hopefully this new building provides a win for all 3 of those efforts, and we can end up seeing a better downtown experience this summer, and whatever's left, we can address with those bad behaviors more effectively than we have been able to in the past. And so we're looking forward to just a great summer as soon as it warms up outside. I'm not happy about today. I'm not sure anybody else is either, but looking ahead, I think we're after this weekend, we're done with the below freezing temperatures and we can start to get outside. I know just looking at Broadway Square over the last couple of days with the picnic tables out there, people show up and they're immediately out there. And so people want to be outside, want to be with their community, and there's no better place to do that than in downtown Fargo. And up next on our show, we're going to have Matt with Orange Records to talk about Record Store Day and what that means. We'll talk to you more when we get back. Welcome back. I'm joined in studio with Matt from Orange Records. Matt, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So Orange Records, what is Orange Records? Pretty obvious it's in the name, but for those who don't know Orange Records, give us a background.
Yeah, it is a record store focused on vinyl for sure. And then we have CDs, posters, all the other stuff that a lot of record stores will have, cassettes, clothing.
And it's a big day tomorrow, Record Store Day, RSD. For those looking online, I feel like it pops up all over, but you have some 200 different albums that kind of launch tomorrow, and they always have like special releases. So what is Record Store Day?
It started in 2008, so it was I guess the idea was to get people to have to go into their local record store. They're only available to brick and mortar independent stores, not big box stores. They're not sold online until like a couple days later. Stores will put leftovers online, but just a day to get people into the stores physically.
And so what type of records come out on Record Store Day? Is it, they're sort of special edition type ones?
Yeah, a lot of live stuff, it seems like, over the last few years. So there's limited edition, colored and not colored stuff, but a lot of them end up being colored presses of different records.
What do you think's the popular one that's coming out tomorrow that creates the line? I always feel like there's a couple that come out for lines, right?
Yeah, if there's a Taylor Swift record, it's always
Elizabeth Taylor is on there, I think, is on the Record Store Day, right?
Yeah, and there's a B-side that's exclusive to the release, so that's the reason to get it, I guess.
I actually purposely haven't told my daughter about that because she'd make me go and wait in line. Yeah.
And that's one you probably don't have to wait in line for because we did get 200 copies of it.
Oh, nice.
So
all right.
We should have enough to last.
Put one aside for me, and then I just won't have to wait in line. Pull rank on it. But no, so the cool part about you is Orange Records, and we have Paradox later in the show. You guys both co-located together now, and you agreed on this move. You're both longtime downtown fixtures, but you moved into the old Mexican Village spot, which I think most people probably still know that building, but it won't be much longer before nobody even talks about it as the old Mexican Village. Now it'll just be Paradox and Orange Records. But what sort of led to that move?
I guess me and Richard had both talked over the years about how we'd like to get into a bigger spot, and our old locations had problems with having tenants above you. Sometimes there's water leaks and different stuff. So it's mostly space, and then also those other, like some problems with the buildings where frustrations would come up, and then that's why we'd end up talking about stuff. But I think expanding, having more room was the main.
So what have you noticed about your new space? People like it?
Yeah, it's great. There's way more parking, which downtown can get congested a lot of times, especially in the evening. So we have a back lot that's open, and then there's parking on the street and around the side parking lot. So,
have you changed your offerings at all, or is it pretty similar what people expect?
We've added stuff. I guess it was just more of what we had. So we didn't really get new product in. It's just more records, more CDs, more memorabilia.
So, it seems like vinyl, going into business in the vinyl world, seems like it's an old technology, but it continues to grow. I mean, you've had to adapt somewhat, obviously, but things like Record Store Day. But why do people love vinyl? What's the nostalgia behind it?
I think it's physical media too in general is coming back a little bit. CDs are even starting to get a little more popular, but I think records, it's in the beginning when we started, it's the nostalgia, getting the old copies, and nowadays you can buy anything reissued too. So I think once you get a nice stereo, a nice turntable, that's what really gets people into collecting records, is once you have that setup going.
So you seeing younger people continue to enter the world of vinyl?
Yeah, there's a lot of popular stuff that comes out on record now and maybe not on CD. So there are a ton of kids that are buying records the last few years.
I know my daughter, she's 14, and she just told me the other day that she needs to have a bigger cabinet for all her records, and they're kind of all over the place. You probably cringe because she doesn't care for them as well as you probably should, but they're not quite as resilient, but it's fun to see. And so we listen to a lot of records in our house. So it's fun to have that. And going to the record store. I mean, it's fun to take a kid and go to a store and like the same thing. And that's just rare, but it's good to see that with records. And what I love about records too is you actually get to listen to all the artists' music. The artist put every song on there for a reason that was personal to him somehow. But if you're just listening to the radio or streaming, you're just clicking on whatever looks like the favorite or whatever the radio tells you to listen to.
Yeah, and an album too, they thought about that track list and how it flows and everything.
Yeah, it's just like a concert set. You got this like emotional curve of the story they're telling.
Yeah, and if you know an album well, you're anticipating that next song when the one ends. So it's like you definitely have that in your brain from listening to albums. I think the continuity.
Yeah, I know. I think there's a couple, in the last 10 years or whatever, there's a couple records I bought that I started listening to the music because of the record, not through streaming or not the radio. And so when people ask like, well, what's your favorite song on the album? It's like, I didn't know the difference between the songs because it just felt like one long hour of music. And it was kind of fun to just think of it that way, where it's like, this is like the whole story they're telling, the whole concert, as opposed to, I like this 3 minutes of it.
Yeah.
It was neat to see. Okay. So I'm going to ask you, what do you fall back on? What's your favorite record? I hate asking people favorite. So like if you're on, you're chilling out on a weekend, what's on your stereo?
Man, I guess I don't have a ton of records that I listen to a lot. It's always kind of finding something new or something that I haven't listened to in a long time. So I'll just dig through the records and find something. But if we're at home, it's always a little mellower. So I got a 3-year-old.
Oh, that's fun.
He's not going to let us listen to the crazy stuff probably.
And so do you always listen to A and B? Do you flip the side, or you just listen to one side and then put it away?
Oh, no. Yeah, we'll listen to the whole thing. You got to listen
to the whole thing. There's no rewinding, so that's good.
Yeah.
It's not like a tape. You had to listen to the other side just to rewind, the other side. But okay, so what's Record Store Day? What are the hours? How does that work?
We open 2 hours early, so 9 a.m. on Saturday, and then we're closing at normal time, so 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. And then people start lining up at, I don't know, it's different over the years, but 2, 3, 4 in the morning.
Oh, wow.
It's going to be cold tonight, so that's never fun for people, but they do it. They line up.
Yeah, so on Main Avenue there, I was trying to think where you even go at that time to Nicole's isn't quite open yet for breakfast or hot coffee, but yeah. So bundle up.
Yeah, the McDonald's is not there anymore.
Do you guys pipe music outside so the people online?
No. No, we don't really show up until probably 8:30 or something ourselves.
Okay, so you mentioned obviously Taylor Swift is her own economy of music, but what else are people waiting for tomorrow?
There's a live Ween record from 1990, so the early live Ween when it was just Diener and Jeaner together, the two-piece. And there's a John Prine BBC session record coming out. There's a Sleep Token. That's one of those liquid-filled records that people have been making more of lately. I think those are some of the big ones. There's a Sturgill Simpson picture 7-inch that we only got 2 of, so that's one of the ones where you wish they would have made more of, because there's definitely not enough to go around of that one.
And I think I saw on your Facebook that you posted pictures of all like 235 different records or something like that you have.
Yeah, I think it's 216 titles.
Oh, wow.
And then you can see if you look at the pictures on Instagram and Facebook how many of each one we got. So people have an idea if it's worth waiting, if there's only 1 or 2 copies, kind of.
I was impressed that you actually just went through and took pictures 200 times. That's a lot of effort.
Yeah, it hurt my back. It was a lot of bending over and picking stuff out of boxes. We did that yesterday.
Well, that's... Yeah. I was impressed. So if anybody's looking for what's out there, I know there's record store lists all over online too for Record Store Day, but you probably don't get every record that's coming out, but 216 of them is quite a lot to choose from.
Yeah, and there's a few CDs I forgot to take pictures of, like a Jeff Buckley, I think, but it's almost all records. There's very few CDs that ever come out.
All right. Well, I appreciate record stores because I always feel a little intimidated walking in because everyone feels like there really is like a scavenger hunt feel to record stores where you're digging through to see what's there.
Yeah.
And, there's always some used ones that you can dig through and find an old favorite, and you never know. It changes all the time. You guys are always buying and collections and things, I assume, too.
Yeah, the used stuff, you never know what you'll find. I haven't been putting pictures on our social media as much lately, but we almost always post pictures of used and new stuff as it goes out. But I was just trying to catch up on our used stock because it was depleted a little, but usually we're posting pictures of that so you know what's going out when it goes out.
Okay, so I always ask this of downtown businesses about give love to something else going on downtown that you're not involved with. And you can't choose Paradox because they're your neighbor. But something else downtown that you just love and you're passionate about downtown that's doing something well.
I'm in the aquarium above Dempsey's. That's one of my favorite places downtown ever since they opened. I've seen so many bands there. And
yeah, it's a cool place. I always tell people I went to daycare there when it was like Knights of Columbus back in the day. And I remember being there as a daycare, and I always thought it was strange now that it's a concert venue.
In the upstairs, it was a daycare?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, kind of wild. The whole building was, which is, Yeah, for a while. I think it was Knights of Columbus. I think that's what it was before. Knights Lodge or Moose Lodge. It was Knights. Anyways.
Yeah, I think
There's a history there.
Yeah.
All right, so Record Store Day tomorrow at Orange Records starts, you said 9 o'clock?
Yep, 9 a.m. the doors open, and then the line usually takes 2 or 3 hours to get through. So after that, then it'll be easier to come in if there's nothing that you're going to be waiting in line for.
So come early, grab some coffee, wait in line, stay warm, and get your favorite record. Check out their Facebook for all the records being released. And thanks for coming on the show. When we come back, we're going to have Rich from Paradox talking about comics and his big show coming up this weekend.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me on.
Thanks. Welcome back. We got Richard Early in the studio with us, the founder and owner of Paradox Comics and Cards. Welcome to the show again.
Hello, sir.
Welcome back. So Paradox is been downtown for 3 decades now and been a fixture for so many, but it continues now with your new location to grow and expand, and you're doing all sorts of fun things.
I think the thing we didn't expect when we moved over was how much it would actually open up more possibilities. We were so focused on just trying to get in there and trying to make that all work that we didn't see what was going to happen. So,
yeah, my wife is a listener to the show, but we went over to Paradox the other day, and I ran in to get my comic book subscription, and my wife's like, "What are all those people doing in the store?" Because there was like 100 people in there. I'm like, "That's pretty much every time I've been there." And she's like, "Really?" Yeah.
And we put our game tables in the middle of the space, surrounded by merchandise on purpose, because we wanted to make it clear that's who we are, is a community as much as we're just a shopping center, which we are. Become kind of I would say regional shopping destination is the term I use. But I mean, events are what it's all about. That's where the meaning comes from. I mean, I'm there to make money, and everybody knows that. But what makes it fun is a little kid dresses up as the Joker for our nerdy ween and does like side eye with our Superman all day long. And just that's a memory that his mom still talks about.
Yeah, it's so cool to see. And I think the move to Main Avenue has changed a lot of that, because it's it's the most visible road in downtown Fargo. If you're driving, there's so much traffic that goes by there. And so you're right there. Everybody that comes to town sees it.
Yeah, and I think they said 22,000 cars a day, and we see that all the time. My guys are always telling me there's new customers. I've never seen so many new people, and that seems to still be the case after all this time. So I've had people who've moved their stores before, and I've heard both sides of it, but it's been straight growth for us and just unlocked all kinds of ideas.
And so it's called Comics and Cards, but you still have all the same greats you've always had, but your store has changed a little bit too in its offerings.
I joke that we kind of compete with like Barnes and Noble, and we can do things that we can do everything Barnes and Noble can do, and they can't do some of the things that we do. So,
because I mean, you see in there now, you have kids looking for toys.
Yep, toys, books, little golden books to sticker books to coloring books to activity books to Dogman to two bookshelves now of fiction, nonfiction, just actual books and models that we've never carried, and believe me, lots more planned.
You know, as somebody who spent a lot of time on sort of community development issues in the city and growth issues, the idea of a third place never gets talked about in a planning document at the city. But I always feel like the city's quality of life, where are the people's third places in a town? That's how you should measure the success of a town.
I've got a friend who grew up at my store, and they're working on some nonprofit things in town right now, but he told me that everyone else that he knows in his neighborhood was lost. They fell into drugs or various other things, but he had us. He had coming down to play cards. And that's cool to hear, and I'm glad that's there, and I want more of that. That's what we want to be.
Yeah, I mean, you look at, we do a lot of advertising, obviously, for the houses in town. If you come to move here, what's your house look like? Or Jobs do a ton of advertising. We rarely advertise, here's what you do the other 8 hours of the day. Where are you supposed to go? Is it, the coffee shops? Paradox is one, obviously. A lot of the events Folkways does, the Red River Market, even the Red River, the Trails networks, all those places you go outside, parks, they're all third places. But we don't talk about those enough. And Paradox is that third place for so many people who have probably a tough time fitting in the traditional third places, maybe.
It's so weird for me to think of myself, I'm in email chains with the owner of Dreckers or with various things like that. And I just don't think of Paradox kind of in that category, but it's also been kind of fun. I wanted to network when we moved over here, and I've got connections at Jade Presents now and Downtown Community Partnership. And that's what I'm trying to build, is just more and more of that. And I just want Paradox to be valuable to them. I think my core belief after all these years as being an owner and all this stuff is everybody who meets me and comes to my shop should get more out of my shop than I get from them. I just, you've got to build people and help them and get empowered to wherever they're headed. So I say this to employees all the time when I hire them.
No, that's a great way to look at it. And obviously our downtown, we all share that customer experience. And so it's so important. Last week, I don't know if you heard the show, but we had the two guys from Events for All on the show. And it's, I see that almost as a takeoff of the popularity of your company, where people are looking for additional spaces because you're full too, but they have, some different offerings, but it's that growth of the community.
They're super interesting. I've seen their Facebook, and I've been meaning to try to connect with them.
Probably not for the salsa dancing lessons they have there.
But they have like a D&D night and stuff like that. And it's like, well, we could donate some things and help with that or whatever. It's interesting.
Yeah, and I just love their story because there were just two dads that their wives were like, you guys need to go find more space to do this somewhere else.
Yeah.
Turned it into a little business. But that's great. So, okay. But you got something big. You talked about, you have a Nerdy Ween and all these other events that you've done and known for maybe, but you got something big coming up this weekend. So let's preface that. And what's happening on Sunday?
We had the first ever Paradox comic show, and it's sort of born out of, things we've talked about, but we were encouraged to try to reach out to Carly and her team at Bruhala, and we'd been trying to come up with something we could do over there. And I think this comic show just sort of evolved. We do Nerdy Rummage Sale, which is an outdoor vendor show that we do every June. And so we've done a lot of these types of things, and I've done miniature versions of what we're being there. Plus, when I started off, I worked at comic shops when I was a kid. I worked the front door of comic shows in the 1980s, if people remember those, the Lantern News comic shows out at the Holiday Inn. So, and then I started vending. My career started at those tables. So I kind of know that at every level, from working it to being there to organizing this type of stuff. And so it felt like a natural fit to do that at Bruhala. And what a great venue, obviously. So yeah, this is an extension of what we do. And talking about value, like, we've tried to make a show where our shyest attendee or our biggest national guest feels like they got a really valuable day and a great experience there.
Yeah, and we talk about it a lot on the show, but all these events you're fine coming by yourself, which is so unique. It's tough to go to a restaurant or a sporting event by yourself, but all the downtown shows you can go to by yourself, and you're going to meet somebody. I
think it's really important to say that everybody who comes to our stuff should feel okay to be themselves, because it's hard to break that social barrier for a lot of people. Whether it's alone or with a group, you've got to cross over that pain point of going somewhere where you're uncomfortable. And we try to make it so, we're not perfect, we're never going to be, but we want it to, we want everybody to be able to cross that barrier without and feel good once they've done it.
Yeah, it's the good and bad of the internet too, whereas you can always find people that have similar likes to you on the internet. In real life, that's really tough to find people that have similar interests or willing to, branch out and say hi.
I think this show has been, so this show didn't even exist in mid-January. So in 90 days, we've put this thing together, and it's turned out better than I could have imagined. So we've got the Magic Factory is the ballroom on the main floor at Bruhala. It's just over 5,000 square feet. We've got 48 tables packed in there, and it is a great combination. One of my things is I want to get back to a core comic show. So I wanted a bunch of comic book dealers, which that means a lot to a lot of people. You've got your lists and you can browse people's boxes and tables. And we've drifted away from some of that for various reasons. And I wanted that first. I wanted toy dealers. I've got a guy coming up from Iowa who is a nationally known Transformers collection, and he's bringing cool stuff, including parts. So if you've got Transformers, but you're missing a hand or a gun or whatever, he's got like 22 boxes of parts along with his, actual Transformers. So, and then we've got a bunch of local artists. We've got just a ton of people. And we've got Amarok Tattoo is doing a flash tattoo. One of my favorite things, we put a lot of work into a day of programming, and we've got Greg Carlson. A lot of people know Greg from the Fargo Theatre, from Concordia, and he's leading 2 panels. We've got a nationally known documentarian who's won awards at San Diego Comic-Con for this documentary called Shopping for Superman, and it's about the 50-year history of comic shops. What's great about that is that's just core to what we're doing, right? Like, this is a love of comics show, so...
And so we're talking about the comic book show at Brewhalla that Paradox is putting on Sunday. And so we hear comic book show, but it's more than comics. You could say it's more than meets the eye.
I love it. Yes, that's perfect. Yeah. So
yeah, if you're into Transformers or toys or art, I know Morioki. I talked with her this week. She'll be there. So some of your local favorites.
We've got writers, we've got national guests. So our biggest guests are David Michelinie, who actually co-created the Spider-Man villain Venom. And he created the Spider-Man villain Carnage, and he created Taskmaster. He wrote Avengers and Amazing Spider-Man and all these books that were, are foundational to who we are as nerds today, whether we like movies or comics. And he's going to be there signing. We're just going to have him. We're just going to put him in front of fans all day and let him sign stuff. So, and then we've got a gentleman named Brad Anderson. Brad is a colorist, and I know that we focus on writers and artists, but Brad is one of the most talented people in the entire comic book industry, and he works on the biggest titles in the world. He's done one of his most famous things people know is a big Batman story called 3 Jokers from about 5 years ago. But he's written Dark Side War and all kinds of great stuff for DC, and he co-owns a company called Ghost Machine and is making great comics today. I mean, he's just a fantastic working creator. So,
and I think you have he did some classic Star Wars comic books too, just to throw that out there.
David did, yeah. And we've got like Paradox and other vendors. If you don't have something of his, we've got all kinds of things for you to buy.
So you can buy it, get it signed, meet. I think your movie, the Shopping Superman, is a cool concept. The fact that superheroes have lasted through multiple generations and still have economic value. It's not. You didn't have to modernize a superhero, really.
And Greg's going to host that with Wes. We're going to show it at 4:30 and then have a Q&A afterwards. I mean, that's one of the things I'd highly recommend people come to. The panels start at 10:30 in the morning. I'm on a panel. If you want to learn about insider baseball and how to run a comic shop, my panel, I think, is at 2:30 with another shop owner who's going to be there and a gentleman who vends at shows. So if you're a side hustler, I don't mean that term in a bad way. I'm trying to, where you're a weekend warrior, I guess is a good way to put it. This is going to be a great panel for you to learn how do I get a table at a show and things like that. So,
all right, when we come back, we're going to keep talking about the comic book show and the Paradox community that they've built. Welcome back. We're talking about what's going on in downtown this weekend, and we had Orange Records on the show to talk about Record Store Day tomorrow, starting at 9 a.m. over at Orange Records on Main Avenue. They have 216 exclusive records that just come out tomorrow. So if you're looking to score one of those, line up early or come late and see what's left. But all the pictures are online. And then we also have Rich on the show with us right now, talking from Paradox's standpoint about their show, comic book show at Brewhalla. So what are the hours for this comic book show?
Yeah, we're 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Sunday, and tickets are $20, but if you've got kids 10 and under, they are completely free. Some people have seen, we did do pre-registration, and you don't have to do that at all. Just come and hop in line. Don't worry about it.
Okay, so, to be the cheap guy out there, what do I get for my $20?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. We think a lot about that. And I think you will find so much going on if you're able to take advantage of it all. It's a vendor room, but it's also, you've got all these here, David Michelinie, Brad Anderson, and Wes Easton. Wes is the documentarian. You're not going to be able to meet them other than that day. You're going to get the experience to talk to these nationally known people and, come see a movie that you can only see this one day. It's not showing anywhere else. It's not in a theater. This is the only place you can get it. And then you've got, for one thing, at the door, we have goodies bags for the first 500 people. We've got free comics in the goodies bags, especially because free comic book day is 2 weeks from now. So we got to tease all that. And we got Dark Horse Comics, who's a major comics publisher, sent us enough stuff to give out to 500 people. So we just want to make sure as many people as possible, have that in their hand. It's always nice to have that when you pay an entry fee, right? So, and the community, seeing people in a costume, seeing people shopping, and there is more than just comics. I know I'm talking hard about comics, but like I said, there's toy dealers. You're going to see classic vintage stuff. There's one gentleman, he's got carded Return of the Jedi action figures. So he's got vintage toys of all kinds at his table as well. And all the local artists, you're going to meet so many people. We've got Troy Becker Art, who does all of my posters that we give away for free comic book day and exclusive variant covers for me. He's going to be there. He's great. He's doing a panel about working. He works professionally in town. His artwork is actually up in the city council chambers. He won a contest for that. So we've got all kinds of different professionals. You're just not going to get that experience except to come to one of these conventions. There's been, we have like a 50-year history of conventions in town with ValleyCon, so a lot of people are familiar with coming to these. And I don't know what our spin on it is different than theirs, but we're doing our best. So
if you're bringing a young child, it's costumes are encouraged probably too, or people, they could have fun and be normalized there and get to hang out with
absolutely. And we'll have our life-size action figure box over there, so you can take your picture in that. We're having a tag us online contest to give away a few gift cards. We're going to call that Costume Corner. There's a few other things planned for that, but we're kind of staying quiet because we're pulling that all together still. And we're going to have activities for kids. There's a panel at 11:30 that is a how to draw comics panel, and it isn't necessarily specifically for kids, but it will walk you through what is sequential artwork, how do panels work, what's a gutter in between a panel, and that's with Brad Thingvold, who's another professional artist and has a vendor table at our show as well.
Well, that's fun. I know you had Batman do some promos for you, so that's cool.
I know that guy.
Yeah, not saying I'm Batman, but we've never seen us together in the same spot, so that's always fun.
I'm questioning Batman drinking beer at Brewhalla. That's my only.
That's the beauty of Brewhalla. You can get pizza, you can get beer, you can get comics on Sunday.
So that's the other shout out is, first of all, if you don't know what Brewhalla puts into their entertainment team, and Carly and her staff are just absolutely unbelievable. These are the most professional, hardworking people I think I've ever met in my life. And so if you haven't been to Brewhalla yet, you should get over there. And that's not even mentioning the food, the drink, Nicole's, Thunder Coffee, and Drecker's especially. So Drecker's has these things called slushy boozes. Mm-hmm. Is that right? So they have a whole set of those. My favorite is Aquaman Punch on Sunday. So they've made special brews just for this day. And so is Thunder Coffee. There are coffees themed off of various, I think Kite Man is one of them, if I saw the picture correctly. So
if you want one at 10 a.m., no one's going to judge? Is that?
Not me, certainly. So
okay, so
my vendors want you to go drink and then come back and make bad decisions. So
well, that's, that happens sometimes too. Okay, I know it's always tough because this is your first one, but is this going to be a recurring thing, or is this one and done?
We're so focused on this one and how it goes that I can't answer that. Is it going to just be perfect and we do it once a year at Brewhalla like this? Is it going to outgrow Brewhalla? Is it going to flop? Like, I don't have any idea. So we just wanted, we saw an opportunity to try this out as an expansion of what we're already doing. And we just want to deliver this one good day and then go from there.
Okay, we got 2 minutes left. Tell us about Free Comic Book Day.
Yeah, Free Comic Book Day. This is your national event. This is Christmas for nerds. It's the first Saturday in May every year. There are 50 free comics. We let you guys pick up to 5, and there is something for everybody. There's a ton of stuff for kids, and it's all it's all kinds of stuff from hardcore comic collectors to just pop culture characters that you're going to recognize, whether you think you want to read a comic book or not. There's just absolutely something for everybody. We open at 10 a.m. This year we have like 8,000 comics. It's like double what we've had the last couple of years. And then every year we do a giveaway poster. So this year it's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fighting Godzilla. And we put like Dwayne style pizza into the picture and try to add some little Fargo elements to it.
I love it. Yeah. The ones in the past have always been amazing. They're good frameable posters.
Yep, Magneto attacking the Fargo Theatre, Magneto the X-Men villain ripping the Fargo Theatre sign off, the Hulk helping us move one year, Last year's was probably, I got a little feedback, was a little risque because it was the Joker and the wood chipper, and Robin's foot was coming out of the wood chipper. So probably not perfect for kids, I guess, but it was a really cool poster.
Yeah, arguably that's about as Fargo as you get these days, though. I mean, we saw that at Peter Strummer was in town this week, right? You know.
Yep. Yeah, poor Greg Carlson, who's doing all my panels too, was that was his big thing all week. So.
Okay, so we have comic book show Sunday, $20 tickets. You don't have to buy them ahead of time.
Nope.
So come to Brew Hall. Is Paradox still going to be open this weekend too?
Yep. Yeah, we're ready. We're expecting a busy day there. Oh, and we're vending at the show. We haven't vended at a show for years, and I've been kind of famous for saying I wouldn't, but I don't know. We just, part of the main reason is we're not hardcore getting back into it, but we just wanted to make sure there was a lot of comic book tables there. So.
Well, perfect. So a lot of reasons to come downtown this weekend, meet somebody new, bring some friends, show off your favorites, come home with some gift for somebody else.
And a big thank you to you, Rocky. Like, not only this show, but what you're doing downtown, and your energy is just making a huge difference, and people know, and you're awesome.
Well, I appreciate that. Everybody, go be kind and have a great weekend. We'll see you next week.